Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today we are going to discuss some special functions or some standard functions. We will check we will draw the graph of these functions. We will check the domain and the range of these functions. Now the first one is modulus function. You know that the function is simply a rule from first set to another set, or function is simply a subset of a cross b with the given or with the properties as you know. Now here this function or these functions which we will discuss, these are usually the real functions. Real functions are those functions whose domain as well as the codomain, not range, codomain or the set of real numbers. That is these functions which we'll discuss in this topic are usually the subsets of R cross R. So here this 2 is the function from R to R. This means that it is real valued function or simply the real function. So the definition of this function is a function or the function f defined on the set of real numbers. Defined on the set of real numbers means that the domain of this very function is whole set R to R. इसका codomain भी that is set R by f of x equals to mod of x for all x belongs to R. That is such a function which is defined by f of x equals to mod x for all x belongs to R is called as the modulus functions, where mod x equals to x if x is positive, because in real numbers we have three types of numbers. One is positive, negative and 0. For positive, this mod x is the number itself, that is positive. For 0, the mod of 0 is always 0. And for the negative number, suppose if we have minus 5, mod of minus 5 is minus 5. That is mod of x if x is negative is minus x. So this means that it makes the number to the positive number. Now this is called as the modulus functions. This means that this function relates each and every number to its positive. If it is positive, then it maps or it relates a number to itself. If it is negative, then it maps or it relates that negative number to its positive number. Like 5 goes to 5, minus 5 goes to minus 5, plus 5. Now how to find the image points of the given numbers? Like we have to find f of 2, it is simply mod of 2 equals to 2. F of minus 2, it is simply mod of minus 2 is minus 2, that is plus 2, because 2 is here, minus 2 is negative. Similarly, f of 0 is 0, f of 1 is 1, because mod of x is positive if x is positive, or mod of x is x if x is positive. And mod of f of minus 1 is mod of minus 1, that is simply minus of minus 1, that is simply positive 1. So in this way you can find the image of any real number through this function. Now how to draw the graph of this function, or what is the behavior? How does this function looks like? You know that in order to draw the graph of the real functions, or simply the real functions, or simply the function, we need two axes. One is the horizontal axis and second one is the vertical axis. You know that the horizontal axis is called as the x-axis, whereas the vertical axis is called as y-axis. Always this horizontal axis or the x-axis always represents the domain elements. So horizontal line represents the domain, while as codomain line is represented, codomain not range, codomain line is represented by the vertical line. Now we will now here x or the elements from the domain. So x means points on the x-axis, so we will locate these points, and the corresponding point y is f of x, because x y means y equals to f of x, so it is an ordered pair. Like we represent the point 2 5 in the point in the plan. Similarly, we will represent the point x, and f of x means x and y. Y means y-axis, means the range elements, and x is simply the domain elements. Like Here, now let us draw two axes. This is the x-axis and this is y-axis. This represents the domain elements, and this represents the codomain, or simply this represents the codomain set. Now 0 goes to 0 under this mod f of x, because if x equals to this, y equals to f of x, means the image element. It is defined by mod of x, or there is a relation between x and y, that is y equals to mod x. Now when x is 0, y is 0. So this means that we have to locate the point 0, 0. That is simply the origin, that is this point. That is the point where these two axes intersect, this axis and this very axis. Similarly, 1 to 1. X is 1, y is 1, so this is this point. So this means that for each and every positive number we will get the points like this, or represented by these points, or represented by this line. Now if we consider the negative points are on this left side of this x-axis, that is these points. Now for minus 1, f of minus 1 is plus 1, that is this very point. Similarly to for minus 2, y is plus 2, that is this very point, because in order to locate the point we draw a two mutually perpendicular axes, that is from this and this. So this represents the point minus 2 and 2. Similarly for minus 3 goes with plus 3, that is this very point. So join all these such points. When we join, the graph obtained, or the line obtained, or simply we can say that the graph obtained of this function is like v-shaped graph, but it lies above the x-axis, because above the x-axis value of y is positive. Here mod of x is always positive, whether x is positive or negative. So this means that, or that is why the graph lies above the x-axis. So this is the graph of this modulus function. Here you know that clearly graph lies above the x-axis, or it touches just 0 at x equals to 0 up to infinity, up to positive infinity, because here it is positive infinity from this side. So this means that the range of this mod function, because this is the codomain, and in codomain we have the the range set. So range is always 0 infinity, but from 0 side it is closed, the graph, remark here, we have important here remark how to find the range of a function from the graph. The portion of y-axis, where the graph passes, or through which we can draw a line, a horizontal line which passes the x-axis, and from this side, here we have the line which touches the graph, and it also touches this y-axis. But from here it does not touch the graph, but it touches the y-axis. This means that that portion is considered as the range through which we can draw this horizontal line which intersects both the y-axis as well as the graph, or the portion of a graph. Here it touches, so this means that it is simply the range portion or range set. That is why range of mod of x is simply 0 to infinity. Now we have another function, that is the identity function. Identity means same. A function, it is a real function, it is its codomain is R. So this means that it is a function from R to R, from A to B, means from R to R, defined by f of x equals to x for all x belongs to R. It is called as the identity function, or such very function is called the identity function. So this means that identity function is that function which maps, or which relates every element to itself, that is f of x equals to x. Now in order to draw the graph of this above function, we need we have to draw the two mutually perpendicular axes. One is the x-axis, second one is the y-axis. X-axis means the range in this domain line, and y-axis means the codomain line. Now we have to locate the domain points. X, f of x is defined by x. This means that its domain is whole set R, because it is x is defined. If x is real number, then x is also the definite number. X is also the definite number. This means that the domain of this identity function is whole set R, whole set R. So this means that we have to take each and every point on this x-axis, means on this domain axis. So at 0, the value of the function is 1, because f of x equals to 1, or it maps 1 to 1, 2 to 2, or x to x. That is 1 when 1 equals to x equals to 1, y equals to 1, when x is 2, y is 2, when x is 3, y is 3. Similarly, for negative numbers, when x is minus 1, y is minus 1, x is 2, minus 2, y is minus 2. So this means that we get the points like this. Now when we join these points, the graph obtained is of the form of this, like this. So it is a straight line passing through the origin, this is the identity function. Now clearly, when we draw any horizontal line like this, we will draw, the horizontal line this. It touches, it touches the graph as well as the y-axis. Similarly, from here it touches the graph as well as this y-axis. So this means that each and every portion, or each and every part of this y-axis is in the range set. So clearly, the range of this very function, means identity function, is whole set R, because there does not exist any portion through which we can draw a horizontal line which does not intersect the portion of the graph. That is why domain of this range of this function is whole set R, and domain is R. Here the identity function from, suppose, set R to R. So this means that identity function on real set, it is simply denoted by I prefix here, or its suffix is here R. Similarly, if we have the identity function on, suppose, set A, so this means that we will denote such very function by I prefix here IA. That is, IA is the identity function on set A. So inshallah, in tomorrow's video lecture we will discuss few more functions like polynomial function, rational function, greatest integer function. So thank you.